I've been a musician for such a long time. It all must have started when my parents got me a little toy upright piano, and I was obsessed with that thing, and I would just play and I would say, hey, look, Daddy, I'm improving on the Moonlight Sonata or something. Because, Matt, you have no idea. My history with music is crazy. This is just a hobby for me, to be honest. I don't do it professionally. I don't gain a cent for it.
Hey everybody, it's Matt, AI DIY, the AI music guy. My website is aidiy.tech. I'm doing another interview today. I love doing these interviews. Today I've got Amanda Magellan on this. Forgive me if I said your name wrong. I think I got it right. I love seeing you around the community spaces. You always seem very happy and positive. You put off a really good vibe, and I've been wanting to have this conversation with you for a while because you pop up. You're not necessarily in direct communities that I spend a lot of time with, but when I'm in those communities, you're there, and I go, I have to talk to Amanda. I've featured you. I looked it up back at week 35. I featured you. It was a fantastic song. You do a lot of stuff. Just introduce yourself a little bit. I'm so happy to have you on this podcast.
Thanks, Matt. I'm really glad to be here. I'm a fan. Yeah, I was on week 35. You featured Heather to Flames, and I was so thrilled about that. So yeah, my actual real name is Amanda Magellan. You said it correctly. Thanks. And I am a hobbyist musician / producer. A musician for as long as I can remember, really, for as long as I talk, basically, and a producer for the last about 16 years. And I just came across Suno on around February, March 2024. And yeah, and the rest is history. I mean, Suno and Nudio, and then I just stuck to Suno because Suno was getting better and better, and I just subscribed to it and I stuck to it. And this year I got in touch with a huge AI music community that we have. It's amazing. And yeah,
which one is that? Which community? So we'll just make note of it.
Oh yeah, I mean, I came in touch with so many. This didn't happen before the SSC7. You know, we have like this huge AI music contest that is called the SSC. And this year,
same as the
this year we had the SSC7 around June, July, and it was a big thing. And then I thought, you know, I never took part in any SSCs before this, and I've been in Suno for over a year at that point. I was in Suno for more than a year at that point. Why not try, right? So I just, it was the craziest thing, Matt, because let me see what song I just made that is under 5 minutes, and I'm gonna go with that. So I just submitted my last song under 5 minutes, and I went just like happy-go-lucky. Just let's see what this is all about, what the fuss is about. So, and then, oh my God, this opened up, because I was such a loner before, you know, I make my songs and I said, okay, who comes, who doesn't come, it's fine, who resonates with my music. And so I was shocked about how many people there were there, how many stories, different life stories, and the different ways that people connected to AI music and what it meant for them, and the amazing talent that is out there, and people just spilling their feelings, their life stories through song.
I love it. Yeah.
Oh, that was just a magical time. And then from there on, I just came into contact with so many people, and with some great friends that I cultivate. And here I am.
That's all. And there you go. I've just lined up now my entire itinerary for all the things we can talk about all the way through, in addition to the other stuff outside. But let's just get back to, because we'll talk about SSC7, because some people may be not aware of what that is and what it is, but we'll get to all that stuff. I think that we did talk about it a bit with Itai, but we'll talk about it with you and how you get into it and the meaning behind it and all that stuff. But let's just get back to the start, that that you said, I don't remember if you said a pre-interview. I know this to be the truth, but or if you mentioned it in your intro there, but you are someone who's been in music for a long time. In what way? Like, what way have you been using music? You said you were a producer, all that.
Yeah,
Like in what way? Because I'd like people to know. Because people like people will just say, especially in the music industry or indie artists or whatever, will just say like, people that use AI just push a button, and I think people know that's not true, but it's just the easiest way to just sort of attack, sort of a lazy way to attack. So just talk a little bit about like what you do in music, how long you've been in music, and in that pre Suno.
All right, man. Well, this is just a hobby for me, to be honest. I don't do it professionally. I don't gain a cent for it, but I mean, I've been a musician for such a long time. It all must have started when my parents got me a little toy upright piano.
Yeah.
And I was obsessed with that thing, and I would just play and I would say, "Hey, look, Daddy, I'm improving on the Moonlight Sonata," or something. Because, Matt, you have no idea. My history with music is crazy. So you're going to listen to my stuff and you're going to say, okay, this person is very experimental. She mixes a lot of genres together. Her stuff is
that was actually one of the
radio.
questions I had in there, genre mixing. Yeah.
Yeah. It's because of my history with music, because my mother and my father always we always had classical music around the house. They are not artists. They're not musicians. I don't have any artist or musician blood in my family, so to speak. But my mother would just listen to classical music all day. My father would listen to opera. And then I think I was about 5, and I was in kindergarten or something. And the teacher asked me in front of my mother, "Oh, what are your favorite songs? That's so cute. You like music, so tell me about your favorite songs." And I was like, "Oh, I love Moonlight Sonata and Clair de Lune." And the teacher just looked at me with that. She looked at my mother, and my mother was like, "Okay, I guess I have to do something about that." So my mother went out the same day and bought me like a cassette tape of children's music so that I would have something to talk about with my colleagues,
Yeah.
So,
So that actually brings an interesting point too, because I was on the Dick Buttons podcast yesterday. I'm not sure. Yeah, you probably know Dick Buttons, and it made me think. He asked a question. I didn't answer it too well. What got you started in wanting to be involved in so many different genres? And I remember my mother basically forced me to play trumpet from when I was 8 years old, and then just took that's great. Everything you do is great, and does a lot of so do you think so your parents was a big influence on getting you started, and probably that feedback and encouragement kept you going. Is that a fair assessment?
Kinda, Matt.
Yeah,
I wouldn't say it's 100%, because my mother had a very specific vision for me. She wanted me to be a ballerina, and she wanted me to, she emphasized some things like good grades in school and ballet, and I didn't want anything to do with ballet. Okay, good grades in school I got, but the part about ballet, I was like, I would rather be a musician, and I always tried to pursue that. I tried to teach myself as best as I could. I learned to sing by mimicking Mariah Carey.
Oh, no. This interview's over.
No, I know.
This is Christmas time too. If anybody's watching in the future, so this is an especially good time for Amanda right now.
This is the time when Mariah Carey is thawing out of her ice block.
Bring her out in the shopping centers on the trolley.
I'm not proud of it, Matt. I am not proud of it. But we love all people here. I learned to sing by mimicking her style. This is how I learned. It's not that I don't listen to her anymore, but anyways,
it's okay. It's okay,
especially
Amanda.
Not on Christmas, please. Yeah.
Well, that's the hardest thing with Mariah Carey is even if you like her, it's like, geez, too much. Pull it back. Like, I love pierogi, but I can't eat it
90s,
like 20 times a day, every day.
Oh yeah,
Like,
I know what you mean. But in the 90s, she was huge. I was a child in the
mm,
80s and I was a teenager during the 90s. So in the
yeah.
90s, she was huge. So I just listened to her CDs and I was, how does she do that? Like the whistle register and everything. So I started to mimic her melismas and her whistle register. I tried to teach myself how to sing because basically my parents wouldn't have it. They thought they would pay for music lessons for me and I would become like a musical deviant of some sort.
Yeah.
Well,
So they were
the
worried.
joke's on them.
Yeah.
the jokes the joke's on them because as soon as I could afford like music lessons for myself, I started paying for them. And I took a little bit of piano lessons, a little bit of keyboard, popular singing, and then operatic singing. I am a mezzo soprano. And yeah, and then I went from there. And then, okay, so now I'm going to segue into music production.
Well, just quickly, let me ask, because like obviously English is your second language.
Yeah.
Where are you based? Because I'm just wondering the context of it. Because I'm wondering how far, like, how many people listen. Where do you listen to Mariah Carey and the culture, like with the ballet? If is that a cultural thing? Was your mother's like everybody must be in ballet, that sort of stuff? That's a curious thing I was just having in my mind.
No, I am in Brazil. I'm from Brazil,
Okay.
from the south border of Brazil, where there are a lot
Yeah.
of Germans and Italians, and I have a I'm half German, so yeah. This is my. It's not a cultural thing. I don't think. I think it was just my mother's dream and some form or shape. So yeah, so she really wanted me to to keep doing ballet, and
Uh,
I wanted music.
yeah. All our parents want what we don't want somehow. Yeah. So go ahead
Yeah.
to tell me about the production. Sorry, I interrupt you, but it was a
No.
moment of curiosity that I had. Where are people listening to Mariah Carey? Like where in Europe or wherever? So I got that totally wrong. So
No, she was pretty mainstream back then, and back then
yeah,
I was like 13 years old. I think I hadn't developed like a musical. I was experimenting, so I was
mm,
listening to New Age and Enya and Lorena McKenna, and I was listening to REM and Roxette and Mariah
yeah,
Carey, and I was
mm,
listening to classical music still, and I know I was experimenting with a lot, and then I from New Age and classical I jumped straight into metal.
okay,
This
wow,
is how my music history went. It was all over the place. And yeah, not to say I wasn't listening to other stuff too, but like Pearl Jam but yeah, in the 90s, the grunge, the great era of grunge. So I was listening to a lot of things, but then my personal music history was a little weird there. And yeah, so then after I mean I never took anything to the limit. I never finished piano, keyboard, popular singing, operatic singing. I never finished anything, to be honest with you. But I also took a little online music theory course with Berkeley. I
oh,
think it
there you
was
go.
through, yeah, I think it was
Berkeley and
through.
Boston.
Exactly, yeah. The Berkeley College of Music. I think it was through Coursera or something, some online place. I don't even remember. It's been a while.
Yeah,
But yeah, it was just to consolidate the music theory that I already had to learn for my piano lessons and everything. I already had to have a base for music theory. So I thought, why not just take a certificate, right? And I learned a bunch of new stuff there too. I think education is always a great thing to pursue. And yeah, that online course was great. Even though it was remote, it was really, really interesting, amazing teacher. So yeah, and about 16 years ago, I I had the opportunity to work with the DAW, which is a digital audio workstation, which
yeah,
is a
yeah,
piece of software in which you record, you mix, you master, right?
yep, yep.
And then
But
I bought.
that's a thing that we encourage, I guess, in the community, to take your stuff from Suno or whatever, at least run it through a DAW in some way. Like, I'm going to be honest, I run through an AI DAW, but at least clean it up somewhat. Like, DAW to me is that extra bit that has to get done, but I don't have time to do all that stuff because I'm the AI music guy doing interviews and things like that. And I know if musicians right now are watching, they're like, dude, like no excuse. That's what we're talking about, you lazy AI people. But it is what it is.
Yeah, it's something I have done little of, the mastering process of Suno songs. I've done for
Mm,
BandLab. BandLab has
yeah.
a pretty decent mastering, like an automated presets, but I haven't done any manual mastering of my own Suno songs, just for the human ones.
Yeah.
The human one, as
Yeah.
if AI music
The
doesn't have
real
a human
music.
component, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
the real music, like those
Well,
musicians like to,
let's talk about that a little bit too, because I guess, like you're saying, you never really produce your stuff for commercial use, like you haven't gotten paid for it. Did I hear that correctly? So you've always done music, but you haven't released stuff commercially, so your income doesn't depend on the music that you put out. Is that something? I mean, is that intentional? Is it like, I definitely want to talk about, maybe there's a difference between people that are bagging AI music that depend on it for a living, and maybe some people that are hobbyists, and maybe the mindset around that stuff. But is that something you've always just not really considered or not really wanted to do? It's just something that you've just taken joy in. What's did I read that?
You are absolutely right. Yes.
Yeah.
I never got a dime from my music. I pursued something different, and it was mainly for the stability, for the financial stability, that I pursued something different, which I
Yeah.
didn't really like. I didn't really enjoy, but I finished that phase of my life now. Yeah, because
Yeah.
I worked. I went to law school, then went back into university and did physics, because I love science
So you're
and
super
physics.
smart. You're super smart. I like that. Yeah, it's funny you say
I'm
you had.
just a nerd, Matt.
Yeah,
I'm a nerd. I'm a big nerd.
yeah,
That's what I
like there's a
am.
Millhouse quote from The Simpsons that where Bart was expecting Millhouse to do something. He said, Bart, I'm not that kind of nerd. I'm not a smart nerd. I'm a weak nerd. So there's different types of nerds, but you're the smart nerd.
Oh, I mean, thank you. I don't know what to say. But I mean, I love physics, so I went back for physics, but I never pursued that as a career. So I stuck with law, which is really not my cup of tea at all. I just
Okay.
stuck to it because of the stability, because I went to work in the judiciary system as a civil, as a public servant, a civil servant. So this is what I stuck with for the past 17 years. And now I just ended that phase in my life. And now I'm kind of open to, they say that we close a door, the universe opens some
Yeah,
windows. And
another
this
one
is what
opens.
I'm, yeah, this is the phase I am in right now. Let's just figure it out and do something that we like for a change, right? Something
Yeah.
that is not absolute torture. So yeah, so exactly, you got that right. I never got a dime from music, and I mean, I could
So
think
have you
about
still
it
never
right
got it?
now.
Because I noticed you're on BandLab. I think maybe as an experiment in this podcast, maybe I'll buy one of your tracks while we're live online here, and then you can tell everybody you have gotten $1 for your music, and you can never say that again. That's what we want. As part of this channel is for people to be able to break boundaries and do things and get things they've never done, especially seeing like you went through all this schooling and stuff like that. But I tend to digress, so let me just pull it back to what I was going to say, right? Like what I was thinking while you're talking there is a lot of things that people don't understand when they're one tracked on trying to take down this technology is people like you that have spent your whole life around music, or not even that. Some people haven't been around it, but they've always just dreamed of being around it, and life just drags them kicking and screaming another way. Their parents wanted to do ballet, like for practical reasons they get in careers that they can't, and then they get married a lot of times and they have like 25 kids, and it's life takes over and they just can't, and the whole time they're dreaming, and then all of a sudden they're 50 years old, 60 years old, and they're like, oh no, I can't go back to high school and like learn trumpet and sheet music for the first time. I have to get involved in music. There has to be a little bit of shortcutting, right? And some people, they do push the button to get started, and then they sort of progress on from there. So is this a way that you're be able to like explain, I guess, where you are in the process now? So have you completely done away with manually doing stuff? Are you manually doing stuff, putting it into Suno? Like tell us how AI has helped you transition from your law school, your public servants, your physics and all that to what you're doing now.
Yeah, okay. Well, this is interesting because
Let's hope so, because it's a podcast.
Well, I hope this is interesting.
It'll be
interesting to me, you know.
It's interesting.
Well, as I said, 16 years ago, I started with all the thing. I bought some equipment and started producing my own music and collaborated with people from different countries, and I had a blast. But then I had to relocate cities, and Suno caught me at a time when I had most of my equipment in boxes. My studio was in boxes. I was like, ugh. Work is crazy right now. I'm so busy, but I miss making music so much. So, and then I just came across Suno. It was like March 2024. And it was V2, right? It was pretty bad, but it was so much fun. And I was like, okay, this thing is like a miracle. An AI making music. I mean, this is crazy, but the quality isn't up there right now. So I was doing audio at the time, and audio at the time was much better quality.
Definitely clear, harder to work with, but clearer. Yeah,
exactly. Much harder to work with, but so much better when you got a good result. And then I went back into Suno around May 2024, and it was like V3.5 at that point, May, June. And okay, now the game has changed. Wow, I can really express myself with this now. This is not a toy anymore. It's starting to get really interesting. And so I left audio a little bit to the side, and I started with Suno. And to answer your question, I did try a little upload with some ideas that I had from my period in human music. You tend to have a lot of stray files with stray ideas for songs that you did like a pattern on Reason or something, and you mixed it a bit on Sonar, because I always used Reason and Sonar X2 at the time. And I had a bunch of files laying around with half-finished stuff and, just ideas. Let's just try and upload. Back then, I think it was limited to 1 minute, the upload, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. There was a lot of limitations back then. Yeah.
Yeah. So I started doing that, but then I quickly went back to just prompting, because I was like, okay, this works. This is cool. But let me just get back to really trying to figure this AI out. I just tried to really figure out how the AI works, and to get good at the prompting part. So I haven't been doing uploads lately much, if at all. I plan on finishing my studio, because it's still like half unfinished. I had to like switch rooms and do some acoustic treatment because I live in a busy street. And I plan on doing this in the future for sure. I want to get back into the human music side of it and doing hybrid stuff, because hybrid stuff is very, very exciting. And
especially going for, because the tech is there now. Like Suno sounds good now. We're like right now we're sort of at a crossroads where we don't know if some of the functionality is going to be taken away from Suno, as far as like, what they sampled from, if that stuff's going to be, we don't know. We're waiting for an announcement. By the time this podcast comes out, we'll know. But are you a little bit worried about that, about losing some functionality around that and only be limited to literally artists that are approving their sampling? Is that, yeah.
I am very worried, Matt. I think that any limitation to creativity is a bad thing. They do have censorship of some crazy lyrics, which I think, okay, some form of, okay, here's a limit. Come on, guys. You don't need to be just spewing crazy stuff in your lyrics. I think a little bit too much is too much. Okay, some form of limitation,
Yeah.
but just the basics, the bare minimum. And what they're trying to do, I mean, I don't know for a fact they're trying to do this, but I'm afraid they're trying to limit us to a more restricted pool of data training for the
Yeah,
AI.
I'm almost certain of it, because they've settled partially and partially joined with the music industry. I think it's Universal Music Group. I don't know why, I can't say for sure off the top of my head, but that either that or Udio. Let's just draw a blank at the moment. So
Yeah,
they might
UMG
say
was Video, and Warner Music Group was
Warner Music Group,
Suno. Yeah.
with Suno. So I mean, they they might say, like, you haven't paid any of the artists that you sampled from. This is a battle that they've been having. If you want us to continue this, I don't know, but this is the worry we have, is that all the sampling they've done, so we're not going to have any sort of unique voices as a combination of all the ones they sampled from. You can only use the Warner ones, and only artists that have that have agreed to do that. So you might have 100 artists you can pull from. You can only use Mariah Carey's voice because she said okay, or you can only use I said Steven Tyler yesterday because he approved of her, which probably isn't her. We won't, I guess, going forward, that's going to be a real choke on what we're doing, which would be difficult from Suno's perspective too, because I mean, their marketing isn't towards like me and the community group. They want to be in contact with us, and they want to know who we are, and they're interested in us, but all their marketing is towards DJs and musicians like Timbaland and people like you that know how to use stuff and take what you have and plug it into the system, because they want us to use the studio version. All their marketing is marketing for those people. So I think they would take a hit if that's their target market, which it seems to be to me. Taking away a whole bunch of functionality like that is not going to help them. It's definitely not going to help people like you that know how to drop stuff in.
Yeah, I am seeing this already that you mentioned with V5, to be honest with you, because I keep a very close look, and I do so many experimental things that to me it becomes apparent right away when a model is highly creative or when it's very formulaic. And I think V5 relies on a lot of cliches and formulas, and the vocals. I have a tougher time getting unique vocals within V5. I think they repeat vocals a lot.
I think so.
And and it's just not as creative as V4.5 and V4.5 Plus.
Yeah.
Which is why I have been making songs basically on these older models like V4.5 and Plus, and remastering to V5, because it's the solution I'm finding.
That makes sense.
Pure V5 is not very good, and I am so afraid that the newer models that they're going to put out are going to be even more restricted than V5. So it's probably a good time to start uploading stuff. I mean, I don't know how to play the guitar, but I can play keyboards, and I can play a little bit of bass and viola da gamba, which is the viol, which is like a Renaissance cello. And I mean, I can.
Wouldn't be a big market for that, you'd think. That's pretty niche.
No, not at all. It's pretty niche. Yeah. It's from like early classical music, or like Renaissance consort music. But I could try. I mean, it would be a great time to start doing uploads and try to get some new, fresh sounds out of that, if the model itself. But I think I have come pretty far with prompting. So my prompts are, man, even for the instrumental stuff, I have a tough time staying within the 5,000 character limit in the lyrics.
Okay.
I just script everything. I just put in there all the instruments and samples that I want, all the synthesizer patches that I'm looking for, the kind of mastering. I do a mix of technical and sort of imagery, like conceptual prompt.
Let me ask about that then. Give me a second.
Yeah, sure. I love to talk about that.
Let's talk about it then. So the most successful video I have on my channel is where I talk about meta tags. And had I known it was going to be as successful, I would have done it a lot more detailed and a lot better. You never know. But it was like one of my earlier videos. So it's something obviously people are very interested in. So this is a good topic to have, because I like to, for this podcast, I love to have learnings on my part, but I like to take stuff that's valuable that people can teach on the podcast and people can have massive takeaways. So talk specifically about how you tag within the song, because like I said, this is something that clearly people are interested in.
Okay. Yeah, I love this topic. Back in V3.5, I tried to do something like this inside the lyrics box, but it didn't work out very well. So I stuck to, your basic intro, verse, pre-chorus, chorus, bridge, solo type of meta tags. But I've learned I cannot take credit for these findings, because they were not like my serendipitous findings, my eureka moments. I learned these bits and pieces from one or other creator that sometimes they just left their tags inside the song. And I was, good. So he does it like this. So I must take notes from, just learning from everyone. And I started doing like full tag prompts inside the lyrics box. So the style box I usually leave for technical things like the instruments and the genres and the mastering. And then inside the song, I always start with genre, subgenre. So, most times I set a tempo, a key, a mode. And if I wanted like a key progression or like a mode modulation, I would put an arrow in there and just put a second key or the second mode that I wanted.
And how good is it at picking up key changes? Like I don't have a lot of luck.
Well, with V4.5, it was kind of good, but V5 doesn't get me at all. I've tried. I must be missing something. I got to experiment more. Yeah, it's not very good when you just prompt from, because you have to prompt, you have to leave this open in before the lyrics. And when the lyrics come, the song structure comes, you need to prompt in there, like modulate.
So you prompt in before you even start with the first chorus, you prompt everything. And I'll just quickly, in case people are going, what the frig are they talking about, right? You have two different sections where you're prompting, really two different sections. And actually, like I've found that even like in the third one, which is the song title, actually Suno picks up on that to get a little bit of the vibe too. But you have the part at the top, which is the lyrics. And like Amanda was saying, previously in previous models, we used to just put the lyrics in there, and all the genre prompting is in the next box down there where you can, say rock music and vibe and this sort of feel or whatever. And that was very generic. And then we sort of discovered at some point that you could put within brackets in the lyrics section and guide the song specifically, like put a break here, change the tempo at this point. And Amanda's saying it like way more advanced than what I do, is saying, and so you're setting stuff up even before you start the song with those brackets. What does that look like again?
Well, it's a big section, Matt, because I just put everything in there. I start with genre, subgenre, tempo, key, modes. Keys, modes, different tempos that I wanted to oscillate between. Then I do moods, like the mood of the song, to guide the AI towards a certain mood. Could be horror, thriller, suspense, threatening, menacing, fear, something like this for a soundtrack for like a horror thing. And then I put some influences in there too. I don't usually name artists in there, but I put some influences. Let's say we're doing like a horror soundtrack, and then I put in the influences like Cthulhu mythos. and then it just picks up on the cosmic horror
Wow. Well,
genre,
I struggle with that because a lot of times it'll reject any sort of specific references because, we don't want to get sued even more or whatever. They go, you can't use, Bob Dylan or something like that. You can't put Bob Dylan in there. He goes, no, we reject you. So you have to say, you have to describe out everything that Bob Dylan's like. You can't say Bob Dylan,
Exactly. So
Yeah.
if I have something in mind that is very specific to an artist, I just try to distill that artist into a set of instructions and descriptions that Suno can pick up on and say, that sure sounds a lot like Jane Doe.
Yeah. Because you've been pretty specific. Because you've been pretty specific in that. Yeah.
That is what I try to do when I have something very specific in mind. And then I start with instrumentation. So I put in there all of my instruments, things that I want to. So I try to be as specific as I can. Like what kind of bass, what kind of guitar, what kind of vocalist. I mean, in pass one, I don't really do this because I do pass one as instrumental pass. And then after I got my instrumental down pat, I go to pass two, which are the lyrics. And then I input, I just delete everything. And I start fresh with vocalist, vocal style, vocal delivery, and the lyrics.
Okay. Now this is an interesting point. Now, okay, here we go. So let's stop here. So you just do all your instrumental stuff to get started, right? So
exactly.
How do you then take once you get all your instrumentalist stuff to get that instrumental version with lyrics? That's an interesting part to me because that'd be a struggle because once I'm thinking most users in Suno, like once you change it at all, you've got a completely different song.
Yeah, well, yes, I'll get there. So
okay, after
instruments, no, that's okay. I'm just to wrap it up the instrumental part. I do all the instruments and I do like the mastering. I try to be as specific as I can and as technical as I can, but I also offer the AI some imagery, just something, some headroom for the AI's own imagination. Some way it can surprise me, and it can see what I'm getting at. Just not the technical stuff, a mix of technical and more fantastical imagery stuff. And then I go to the structure and I do, an intro. I want like a synth drone to come in with a filter, slowly opening the filter, opening the low pass and into full frequency spectrum. And then the guitar comes in with an arpeggio that is like this. And then the bass comes in with a beat, and there's a beat drop here. So I do like a musical director would, if a film director were directing a song, he would put the scenes. This is like the storyboard of the song. So after I get a generation that is basically what I was looking for, then I take this generation and I cover it. This is what I do. I don't even use now Suno has add vocals, right?
Yeah.
I don't even use that one. I just cover it like normal cover. Sometimes I even add like a persona.
Persona.
At this point, I don't usually add a persona. I don't have like a persona for myself or anything like this. I like to play around with different styles and vocalists, so I don't usually stick to personas. But I do a pass two that way. I cover the instrumental that I like, and I do the vocalist profile, what kind of voice I want, what kind of delivery I want in each section. And then I start the structure with intro and the lyrics are there. And the style box, I don't usually change the style box. And when I get something that I like, then I will start messing with covers and personas. I would take a persona from one of the generations that I like very much, and I will apply and cover another one that I like very much, and I'll try to combine their characteristics because I think the AI has a sort of a multiplier effect there. It adds the persona to the cover, and then if the style box remains the same and you use a high style influence the slider thing,
You have a slider.
it's
Yep. Yeah.
it multiplies that effect.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sometimes it can get too much and you have to slide back because it
Yeah.
just the
And if you got the
multipliers.
credits to do it, just do it, right? You're working with a song.
Yeah.
So I just want to put to bed now. So now we don't have to hear on the internet at all ever again that, people that use AI for music don't put any effort into it, and there's no soul, and they just push a button and they get what they get. So I guess we'll get this interview out there. We'll do the shorts of that thing that you just said right there, and people will put it out to the world, and we'll never have to hear that again, because clearly that's not what it is. Thank you, Amanda, for fixing what's been broken with people's viewpoint on that. So I love that take. I love that because that's a huge takeaway. I think people can pick apart and watch over what you said when they want to think about, taking whatever to the next level, instead of, like, I'm definitely going to take some stuff out of there and remix. And there's people use it in so many ways, right? Let me just segue a little bit because that's awesome. We can take those takeaways away. I definitely want the learnings from that. That is a beautiful thing. I'm very excited to watch this interview back. Let's talk about what you're talking about with SSC7. And I talked about it a bit with Itai, because he's obviously big into it as well. Because I do want to talk about community, because we're very community based, and I don't care if people are in my community, if they watch my podcast and they go into other Discords and all that stuff, where you feel comfortable and where you feel your happy spot is. I want you to be there and create AI music and have your tribe and love, whether it's with mine or whether it's with Itai's or whether it's with T-Myths or whether it's with True Rock Alliance, all those out there, and any of the other ones that we were talking to yesterday on that Zoom call. That's your spot. But SSC7 is where you found your jam. What is it? What do you guys do? And what's some of the joy that you get from that?
Well, I had no idea what the hype was about until I joined, and then, oh, okay, I understand now. What's the deal with this community? Yeah, it's a huge song contest. I mean, the last one we had almost 400 songs submitted, and it's like 2 months in which we get together and we filter down all the submissions into the ones that we like the best. And it's a community vote. We get together into bunks.
And it's mostly done on Discord and all that.
Yeah, it's Discord based for the first phase of it, for the bunks phase. And then when you have few enough songs that it doesn't I mean, the Twitch streamers can only do so much, right? We can't just make the Twitch streamers stream 400 songs for everybody. So we do the first phase on Discord, and then the second phase is half on Discord and half on Twitch. We're having our showcase weeks, our main stage weeks, in which we have the Twitch streamers showing us and vibing with us, and 40 songs per week. And then the community votes via Google Forms, and we do like an Eurovision style voting in which we assign points, we distribute points through the songs, and we come to the finalists. And that's Eurovision style voting, community voting. There's nothing that is like we don't have like a judging panel in there. It's all community voted. So it's the majority.
So this is a thing that I'm about to do a segment on, because I want people that don't know about these things to know about them, because I think they're a cool place. Well, I'll just take it back a little bit, because we're talking about, I want you to, I guess, lay out what it looks like. Like, people, if you're hearing this interview and you don't know, like, what do you mean it's on Twitch, or what is it? What does it look like? Because I don't want to explain it the way that I explain it, because I think it's a beautiful thing with the watch parties and things. I think there's something that I couldn't have imagined in the way of people's behavior, where they go to these watch parties and they just get into it. Explain from the SSC part of it what that looks like, what it literally looks like. Like, other than like just saying it sort of exists in Discord and then on Twitch, like what does it look like? physically?
Wow. Okay, so let's say you submitted your song via Google Form and you are now looking forward to the contest. And then it comes around and you are added to a server. You are added to your own bunk where you have your other 39 members of the bunkmates. So we have 40 people in one bunk, and you are just vibing together, and you are throwing listening parties in which you can analyze songs. You can, just listen to songs together. If you want, you can pitch in on the text chat. If you don't want to, you don't need to. You just have to listen at some point because you have to vote, right? And then you have a deadline to cast your vote via a Google Forms after you listen to the song, which you can do. You can also do it on your own. You don't need to attend the listening parties if you don't have time. You can listen to the songs. There will be a playlist and you listen to them. There are 40 songs that you have to vote for. And you have to choose your top 20, if I'm not mistaken. I think so. Your top 20 favorites. Actually, your top 12, because you have 12 points and 11 points and 10 points to distribute all the way down to 1. So
Yeah.
Your top 12
So you
songs,
get very involved. Like if you're involved in this company, you get to be
yeah,
very involved. You get to see what other
yeah,
people's stuff, and you get to listen to other people's stuff.
yeah, exactly. You can't just, I mean, some people just submit songs and they disappear, but that's not good because every time you vote, your song gets points merely for your participation.
Yeah, okay.
So it's good that you pitch in and you participate and you help with the votes. It's normal that some people just lose interest over time. Some people will have to travel. Some people will have work hurdles and they won't be able to vote, to be just 100% present until the end. But we are hoping people will find that the energy and the community vibe and the amazing, energy that you get from it, it's more than enough for you to want to pitch in until the end, and you get points for participating too. So yeah, this is every week. Every week you have 40 songs and you vote for your top 12. In this case, you distribute your points. And then next week, you have another batch of 40 songs, and you have community events. You have like challenges, you have collaboration challenges, you have fun things to do that is within the SSC, but it's not related to the main contest. It's just like something fun to do with your bunk, because you really grow attached, depending on your bunk mates. There's a really good communication going on, and you grow and you make friends. I know I made a lot of friends from my bunk mates and from the people in the organization, and it feels like, we don't have summer camp in Brazil, but it feels like summer camp in the US. So
yeah.
If you guys can relate to that. I did
grow up in the US and I did go to summer camp, and it's very much, that's a good vibe. But I want to talk, like, I'll say how I like to view these watch parties, right? Like, 'cause as you're talking, some people that never heard of it, geez, that sounds like a massive workload. And maybe it's not for you as you're watching, but there are people out there that, want some sort of genuine human connection. Maybe they're not good at going out to trivia nights in the pubs. Like we have a lot of them here in Australia. Maybe they're not good. They're not open to going out to joining sporting clubs like we have in Australia. You might want to make some friends. You join a low level sport club. Even if you suck at sport, you can still have social bits part of like playing sport the best you can. But, I want everybody in the world to have something they can go to interact with other people. And, I don't want to say the bar is low in this. Like the bar is that you have to be involved in AI music in some way, and creating that music, no matter how you do it, it's exciting to have at least a couple other people listen to it. And then when you listen to it, then you want to give back and listen to other people's music. And then that just sort of starts forming your community. You start getting to know the type of music that people put out, particularly when people put out really good videos that go with their music. I notice like you're not too active on YouTube. And some people are like, you have a massive following. I would consider a massive following on Suno. There's not a lot of people that have like, I think you have like 2,500. What I put it here.
It's just
One
one
and a
and a
half
half.
thousand. 1,500.
I'm
Still for
a
Suno.
small creator.
Well, I mean, I don't have a massive following at all on Suno. I probably have 10 people that follow me on Suno. I've got my following is on Praise Be Vinyl. I've got like 420 something subscribers on that channel. So you've and actually we'll segue to that bit. Like, why is it that you don't particularly want to go to YouTube, and it looks like you're publishing your stuff on Suno? And actually, when you go to your Suno channel, you've actually got quite a few comments. Like, why do people? This is a question that's been coming up a bit recently in the Facebook groups and the community. Like, why do people publish on Suno and not in other places?
Yeah, I think it takes, and I take my hat off to these people. It takes a special sort of talent as a video maker, as a video director, as a very patient person, which, and I am a very patient person, but not enough to do like a full music video for my songs. At some point, Matt, I do want to tackle that. At some point, I do want to, just kick the laziness away and just try and make a music video, because I do the small 10-second videos for the Suno songs that appear on the cover art. I do those. But a whole 5-minute video, and this is why I haven't been active on the YouTube side. And I also haven't been like, I got into, I actually have like a distributing service, but I haven't gotten around to looking at that and studying what I can do with that, and I don't have my music up on Spotify yet. So for the
is that something you want to do? Is put it up on Spotify? Are you just struggling to understand the distribution part of it?
I'm wrapping my mind around it, man. I want to do this, but I think I have a very rooted habit of making my songs for myself, and not marketing myself, which is a bad habit that I have to kick. I don't, and this is why I have a small following of 1,500 followers after
I would think that's
months.
A lot on Suno. I would think 1,500 is a lot on Suno.
But not in 18 months of Suno, it's not. There are many creators which have just 4 or 5 months of Suno and have more followers than I do. It's just because I have this bad habit of just thinking, whoever likes my vibes and resonates with them will flock to me, and who doesn't like won't. And I'll just try to grow organically. And this has been my modus operandi, but it's not, sometimes it's not the way to go, and I should learn how to market myself a little bit better.
Well, I mean,
and I
is
should
the plan
put stuff up on YouTube and on Spotify for sure.
But is the plan for you, because you mentioned that you haven't made money with music. You said you haven't made a penny. Like, is that what the goal is, to market yourself and start making a living off of music?
It's not the written goal. If it comes, it's going to be fantastic. I would love it. I would embrace it. But it's not something that is a requirement for me, Matt, because I have this thing that I try to not. I know this is wrong, because Suno is an algorithmic platform, and it has a big algorithm in there. And to try to not look at metrics is not the way to go in a platform that is basically an algorithm. But I try not to. You know why? Because I have this feeling that when I give too much focus on the metrics and the following and how many likes and the trending and the genre lists, I think it's going to suck the fun out of it a little bit for me. You know?
So you wonder if that's like a hang up that people like us have. Like, I don't want to go too hard at that, because then I become fake or something like that. And maybe that's like, I don't think that that's necessarily the right way to think. Like, I think you can do what you love, but also market it as well. But I too, with this channel, go, I'm not like, it's a hang up. It's something that we put in our own heads. Like, I'm not going to do marketing. I'm going to grow organically. I'm not going to be fake. But I don't think it's unreasonable, if it's something that you want to do or something you'd love to do, to treat it like a business as well. But I'm guilty of it as well. Like, to be fair, I see the space you're coming in. Maybe we just need to get over these hangups and learn how to make a career out of things that we love. I think
But
more
I
people
know,
do that. There's a lot of misery in the world, and people not doing what they want to do and being sad. And you've got
yeah, but
talent.
I, yeah, oh, thanks, Matt. But I know, I think with you and with YouTube videos, it's a little more natural to want to go that route. With art and with music, it's something that I think, if I give too much weight to metrics and to how I'm coming
Mhm.
across, I might start making music that I think people will enjoy,
Yeah.
and stop making music that I enjoy. And this is going to start looking a little bit like a job to me, which is not my focus.
Yeah,
I I
there's
think
I
it's going
think
to
there's
steal a
ways you
little.
can there's
Yeah.
still ways you can do it. Sia was asked this exact question years ago. I thought it was an interesting answer. People said, like, you make really weird stuff, that's your stuff, but you have these commercial songs that have big commercial success. And she said, I will always continue to make songs that are just for me, that I love, and I'll spend time in the studio doing those. Those make me happy, and I'll spend time, because I know how to put commercial stuff out. I know how to run the metrics, and I know what people want, and that'll be my commercial stuff. So in that way, like even if she doesn't publish all her stuff out commercially, she still has that stuff that she loves to make. But then she puts the stuff out. I don't think she hates her commercial stuff, but she puts it out, and that's how she makes her money, and that's what she performs with. So she gets to sort of live that sort of way. Maybe that's the answer for you. I don't know. I don't want to put words out there, but maybe that's the answer.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great way to go about it. Just do some things that people would enjoy, you think people would enjoy hearing, and do the rest of them for you. I have to say, I still have to experiment with that, because I
Yeah,
am just afraid that Suno will become a job.
yeah,
And right
yeah,
now, it's entertainment for me. It's where I come alive. It's one of my biggest passions. And yeah,
yeah.
but
Don't
that's a
listen to my
great.
words and then break your passion and make you feel sad. Don't do that. What I'm gonna do, I've got this. Oh, it just automatically started playing. I've got this song up here, Isolation Work in Progress, Broken Glass. So I've got this up here. It looks like you've got a few comments on there. Can you buy stuff off SoundCloud? No.
No, I haven't monetized anything, Matt. I
Oh,
I
I
don't
wanted to
think you
buy a track off
can.
you. I wanted to make I wanted to
Oh,
get you started.
you'll be the first one to know once I monetize
Yeah,
something.
put it
It's
on
it's
Puppet Band Lab
not.
or something like that, and
Yeah.
put it up for $1, and then you'll make your first dollar. That was always my dream. Like, when I first got into entrepreneurship, and I'm still trying to figure that out. My first dream, because it seemed like so impossible always to make $1 on something I made. So if I can spend $1 and you go, oh my God, I made $1, and then you go, oh my God, I can multiply that 1,000,000 times. That'd be good. So you get to me on your first Band Lab or whatever. When you put up to Spotify, I want to be your first listen and be the first algorithm, so you can eventually get that fraction of a cent that's going to lead to your 1 cent to your dollar. You let me know about that,
Wow, Matt, thanks so much. You'll be the first one to know.
please,
I
please.
have been such a hobbyist up to this point that I am, frankly, I could use a lesson or two about how to market yourself, how to monetize your stuff. I mean, I'm learning.
There's people way better
Uh,
than me at that part. But let me ask you. We'll we'll wrap it up, because it's been, I think, really, there's a lot to digest in this one too.
there's
Um,
there's so much to talk about. I mean,
there
you
is.
you
There is, and you could
and
talk
so
forever, but
much I
people's
would.
attention spans, I
Yeah,
worry about, especially since
yeah.
there's a lot of technical stuff in this one too, that I want people to take away and not sort of turn off. But if you could, like, as somebody who's been in music for a long time, and like I said, not necessarily commercially, But people that have been commercially or just been around music obviously make a lot of assumptions. And I think sometimes, like I said, I think people don't want to look further into it, because as long as you can say all we are is button pushers and don't actually look any further into that, you can maintain that and just keep saying it. But if someone, I guess, is out there in the music space and have been doing stuff and they're feeling threatened by this technology, what's a bit of advice that you can give to them? I don't want to attack anybody or anything, but and obviously, like, there's going to be a percentage of people that don't take anything on board, but for people that are genuinely curious, how the space is going to look, should I be scared, is music going to be dead, anything like that, from someone who's been plugged into music since you got your toy piano, what's some advice you can for them to think about?
Well, I think this is a recurring theme in history, right? Because when you had photography come around, all the painters were worried because they're going to take our jobs. Nobody's going to want like a painted portrait of themselves anymore. And all it did was just to make things more democratic, to make things more popular, to just make it possible for people to afford a portrait of themselves in photography instead of paying for a painter, which they could never pay for one. It was out of their budget. And eventually photography was accepted, and it is now its own art form. Just you have museums in which you have paintings and in which you have photography exhibits. And there are two forms of art that are still existing today. And the fact that there is photography now doesn't make painting any less special. If anything, it makes painting even more special, because you have the brush strokes, you have the work. It's not just the eye of the artist and the equipment the artist has. It's also the skill and the talent that they have cultivated over the years. So I think there is a room for everything. Human music will never be gone. It will, if anything, it will just grow more special. And also, I have noticed that some people, which are in my communities that I go to, they are starting to learn instruments because they are making AI music, and I'm taking up guitar, which is something I've always wanted to do, because now I want to work with uploads in Suno. So there's also the inverse movements too, Matt. There's people from music coming to Suno, and people who never made music and come to Suno to express themselves and to write about their struggles and to pour their hearts out, which is awesome. And it doesn't make them less of a musician to make music in this way in my book. And people who are doing like the inverse, which is, I think it's
true.
Amazing.
No, that's what you're saying is true. Yeah, no, I've seen it. Yeah.
Yeah. And
I mean, even in my own space, like I don't feel like I loved my time playing trumpet, but I can't play instruments anymore where I can't be loud. Now I'm really curious in lyric writing. So I'm digging into how to write better lyrics. I never thought I would be doing that, but this has sort of sparked that. Like, what do good lyrics look like? I'm plugging into, like you said, the Berklee School of Music. I've got a contact there now. I message, what should I do that? What's a good way to investigate that? So it goes back and forth. People are learning.
Yeah, that's amazing that you said that, because I'm also trying to learn how to write better lyrics. I am mainly a musician. I am not a poet, but I'm trying. I'm learning how to write better lyrics, because all of my lyrics, except for the very early songs that I made in Suno that I was just playing around, my lyrics are human. They're by myself. So I'm trying to be better at this, because some lyrics just come to me like like a download, like I just got them from the ether. It's crazy, and I just jot them down, and that's it. And the ones that don't come via downloads, they are really difficult births, because I am not a poet. So I just, this word isn't right here. I don't like this. So yeah, labor over them a lot. So, and I think that for people that don't have a clue about music, don't have like music theory or an instrument or singing or anything, I think it's just the most amazing thing that they can still share their hearts
Mm.
and share about their lives and express the art that is inside of them via lyrics, that they can tell their story, and then they can just put in there like, okay, I want UK garage rock,
Yeah.
grunge.
And that's
um
totally fine. This is one of the things people get upset
yeah.
about, that people can do that. But I people are so disconnected to what other people are, right? And some people need to sit on a computer to basically prompt things like that and have an output and feel like that's their song. And your opinion out there may be that that's not their song, but in this case, in the very basic level, and I don't want to wrap up too long, but I want to make this point that there's a thing out there called the IKEA impact or IKEA effect or something like that. I forget exactly what it's called, where you get your IKEA furniture in boxes, and then you assemble it yourself, and you put it out there, and there's a feeling that you get. Some people, I hate putting IKEA stuff; it pisses me off. But there is a feeling that people get that they did it themselves, and there's a euphoric feeling that they did it themselves. It's the exact same thing in Suno, that if you prompt it and you play with you play with it a little bit, and you get the exact song that you were hoping you'd get on at a very basic level. Obviously, people do a lot more with it. It's that same exact euphoric feeling that people get when they put IKEA furniture together. And like, whether you believe it's pure art or not, there are people that are human beings that get a euphoric response from putting that Suno together the same way they get from putting IKEA together at that basic level. And I think it's good for the world, instead of having people doom scrolling and getting upset watching politics because somebody said something and someone's peace negotiating and tariffs and having an opinion on that based on whether you watch a particular type of news. And then you're very upset and you're sad and you go to bed and you hate your life. Spend 4 hours a day doing Suno, putting IKEA furniture together and having good feelings because you have music, and then go to watch parties and have other people tell you, oh, I enjoyed watching that thing. It's not I don't think it's a bad thing. This is the experience of what the AI music community is at the base level, and it goes all the way up to you spending time uploading your own music, prompting the crap out of it, breaking it down, re-putting it together, putting it out there, not having time to do videos because you're getting so much involved in the music making process. So there's a massive spectrum, and all of that is giving people huge amounts of joy.
Yeah, and now there's Studio 2, which and then I do Pass 2 and I do Pass 3 for diction, and then I go to Studio and I spend like 10 hours editing the crap. I mean, yeah, it's a great feeling. It is art. It is music. And it is human music, because it's not just, I mean, you could just, prompt for AI lyrics and prompt for, I don't know, any kind of genre that you want and push a button. But I'm not talking about those people. I'm talking about
but people start that way. That's how you learn the software.
Yeah, this exactly. And this is how I learned. My first songs with Suno were just like, okay, what is this about? So I can just put in anything in there, and so let's just try. So it was like low effort because I was just experimenting with this thing. But then you figure out this is a real way in which I can express myself. And people, and this is going to give me a massive reward, like a feeling of accomplishment. And so you asked me what advice I had. Just start with lyrics, man. Just just write about something that is relevant to you, that makes you emotional, something from your life that you want to share. You want to share your experience. Just write some lyrics and grab a genre or two that you love and just put it in there and start refining from there. And you start learning. It's just little by little, but just start with lyrics. The lyrics being yours. It's your song. It's your music.
That's
So
a great feeling. Yeah.
I can't separate musicians, traditional musicians, like instrumentalists and vocalists and maestros and conductors. I can't separate them from people on Suno inputting their lyrics and saying what kind of style they want, what kind of instruments they want, and doing a bunch of generations, selecting their best generation and doing something with it and publishing it. Man, they are making music, they are prompting for music, they are musicians. The fact that the AI is rendering the music, the sounds, doesn't detract from the fact that they are making music. It's an instrument, it's a tool. So yeah, in my view, those creators are musicians too. You know, regardless of whether you upload your own things, you play an instrument or not, they are AI musicians. So yeah, there is a degree of humanity and of heart to this environment and to the AI community and to the songs that the creators put out that people tend to neglect when they talk about AI being just like pushing a button. Yeah. People just forget that there is so much thought and so much heart and so many people.
I think people don't want it. I think some cases people don't want to know because then they would break down their argument. And, I do have sympathy for people who feel like they're being impacted by it. And people feel like that Berkeley professor that I've mentioned a few times and I've had on the show. They feel that everything they have and everything that's special about them as a person can be replicated at pushing a button. And I feel sympathy for that, but I don't want to take away from anybody else who's creating this space either. I'll just wrap it up by asking if I were to play out, because I forget who was telling me, it may have been Cybers. No, Phil Fine was saying, you talk about these people and then you never show what they actually produce. So if I were to play this out in post-production, one of your songs, what one would we play out with? So I'll end it, I'll wrap it up, and I'll say, this is your song, and we'll play it out. So introduce it, and then send me the link after, and we'll play you out.
Okay, I guess I will choose my latest one, because for musicians, our latest song is always our favorite. So it would be Interlaced. It is a synth wave with saxophone, and I hope you guys enjoy it.
Beautiful. This is Interlaced with saxophone. It's a synth wave. Play it out. Cool.
And it was made in studio too.
Was it? Okay. Thanks, Amanda. So we'll say thanks, Amanda, for coming along. This is what I've been wanting to do for a while. You always, on those watch parties you were talking about, like I've seen you before, I go just smiling all the time. Actually, I got to say, when I watch the SSC stuff, everybody's smiling and everybody's dancing and all having a good time. So I appreciate you coming along. We'll play out your song, and you're always welcome to come back.
Thank you very much, Matt. If I may just put a few things out there.
Yes.
I am working now on the SSC 8 with an amazing staff. They have invited me to participate. So we're working on the next season of SSC for next year, March or April. We are aiming for that. I'm also working on a new project with a few of my greatest friends who are also very active in the community. We are working on an AI music embassy, which will be like a central place for all the Suno communities together. And we are trying to bridge the gap between actually not only Suno, but all of AI music. We're trying to bridge the gap between AI music and the outside world. And you can find me. I am running a voice channel stream for a listening session every Monday night on 7 p.m. EST on the TRA studio server on the Discord.
The True Rock Alliance, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, the True Rock Alliance studio. And the name is Amanda's Monday Madness. And if you like rock or metal, because we just do rock or metal, you're welcome to join. You can find me there.
Yeah, cool. I'll be interviewing Daywalker later today. So That's
Awesome,
one thing.
amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks for the space and the opportunity, Matt. And I mean, I had so much to talk about. We would have like topics for conversation for hours here.
Well,
But
this is the thing. So in April next year, I'm running a trip for the John Fawcett Foundation. So we're going to be going to Indonesia. We'll be going to Bali. There's going to be some resort stuff between. So if we want to catch up for a few beers and you want to do some good for a few people, head over to Indonesia next year with me and a few other people. We'll go on the tour and we can just talk.
amazing. Love it,
Cool.
Matt. Thanks so much.
No worries. Let's play you out.